little cup of coffee in your hand, browsing the books, and you see a cute little person.
Like, okay, it's not that kind of podcast.
Okay, you run across a big honking man.
Hey everyone.
Hi guys.
Welcome back to another episode of 30 Kind of Flirty
With Joey and Brittany.
How are you, Joey?
I'm doing
Talk
very
about being
well.
scripted.
I'm doing very well. I just got back recently from a little fall getaway. Solo trip.
Mm-hmm.
I booked myself an Airbnb only like 30 minutes outside of the city, but it was far enough and it was very secluded. It was like this cute little loft that is like right in the forest, and like when I stepped outside, like around the deck and stuff, it was all trees and it was right close to the trails and stuff. So like I went for lots of walks, right, looking at the fall colors.
Did you spend a lot of time outside?
Oh yeah, like every meal I had, I did it on the deck,
which is so
right,
nice,
with the trees and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was very much needed. I feel very relaxed.
Do you?
Which is nice. Yes.
I think that's so important to like get out of the city. And like,
I would literally recommend doing that to like anyone. Like it was a nice little reset
for like a mental health break.
But of course it's never a Joey story with something fucked up happening.
What'd you do?
So like I was literally the morning of leaving and I'm packing up and cleaning. I want to make sure the place looks really good. That way they give me a nice review on my little Airbnb account. I'm putting away things, and I'm putting away my pumpkin candle or my fall candles. And of course, one that I had lit that morning.
Oh God!
I picked it up, and I'm like, for some reason, I was looking at it, and I had it tipped over, and all of a sudden, I could feel something on my hand. I look, wax was just pouring all over my, and it wasn't hot at this point, which is good, but it was pouring all over my hand, but like all over the countertop, all over the hardwood floors, over everything.
Like, oh no!
Literally, like. The crows in that fall forest heard me scream. Like
that is so.
So well, like,
and what color was it? The wax, like
white.
Oh my God!
And the hardwood floors are gray. So
imagine if it was like red.
I know, but like anyway, I managed. I took out all the different cleaning supplies they had and scrubbed, and anyway, I got it all cleaned up. But I was like, oh my God.
That would happen to you.
That
would happen final to me. Day.
Yesterday, I was making a nice little smoothie to be all healthy.
Yeah.
And my blender, I don't know what happened, but it just boom all over my kitchen.
Just exploded.
All over my kitchen. Yeah. So listen, if you need a kitchen to be cleaned, I'm a pro at this point. So just
see, that's why you don't healthy smoothies. I'm telling you, bacon wouldn't do that to you.
You know what? If I had went through a drive-through, that wouldn't have happened.
No.
Right?
I know. There's something to be said about pre-made things.
It's just been, But other than that really little episode, it was a really, really good time.
Oh.
And like I said, like fall's my favorite time of year, but it goes by so quick. And there's lots of things I like to try to do. So like that weekend alone, I felt like I did everything I needed to do. Like I watched a couple movies. I did a lot of fall walks.
You got your pumpkin seeds?
I got my pumpkin seeds. I roasted some pumpkin seeds up. Like I read a full book.
So you feel like you got the whole season like condensed into 3 days.
It was great.
And it makes you feel more accomplished. Yes. I know that sounds so silly, but when it comes to Christmas and any kind of holiday, you're trying to squeeze.
You're trying to get so much done.
And I feel like if you don't do those things, those specific things, then you feel like you've like lost out on the season.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Come through.
And like I said, fall's the shortest season. So
I'd highly recommend.
Highly recommend.
That's just great.
Hopefully I'll go back to that same place next year.
Yeah, because if it's good and you
hopefully
like
they didn't like search my name and then found this podcast and just found out that I spilled wax all over their kitchen.
Can you imagine?
But I did
it's
clean
like,
it up.
No, we've listened and we're not happy.
We're not having you back.
Well, that's good.
What about you? How's your...
Week was good. I'm trying to think, did I do anything kind of fallish? But no, not really.
You said last night that you were kind of getting stressed out because you felt like we're already halfway through October.
Yeah.
And your search for candy apples haven't been fruitful yet.
Okay, no. Oh my God, that was a really, really good like transition. Fruitful, candy apple.
Oh my God, I didn't even think of that until now. Fruitful.
Yeah, so
I
find autumn is like the worst time because the leaves fall. And so you know that the season's coming to an end. Oh my God.
You heard it here first, folks. In autumn, the leaves fall.
Like, you know. So, like, as you see them falling, the trees are getting more bare. Yeah. You're like, okay, I'm running out of time. It's like, honestly, an hourglass.
Yeah. I went on my normal walk yesterday with the trail close to my place, and I already noticed some of the trees have no leaves on them.
Yeah. It's like a constant
It goes by
reminder
so
that it's
quick.
going by. Yeah, so candy apples, I'm having a hard time finding a candy
So
apple
if anyone
kit.
knows where you can just go and buy like
Yeah, it's by
pack
Concord
of
Foods, I think.
candy apples
Here's the
or
thing: is
something?
you can't just buy candy apples. I've looked; doesn't happen. Like
Right.
you need to either make
Make
them
them.
from scratch, or you need to buy the kit.
Have you made them before?
I have made them before. The problem is I feel like it's one of those things that you see all the time in the produce sections at grocery stores, and then when you need one, they ain't there.
Right.
And they make like 10 apples. Do I need 10 candy
Yeah.
apples?
I've never been a candy apple.
I
Maybe
just
because
have,
I
like, a
don't like
craving for
apples that
one.
much.
Yeah.
So I've just never really been like a
Caramel
candy apple.
apples,
Yeah,
like,
it's
any
never
of that
been my.
stuff.
And I can't stand like getting stuck in your teeth like that.
Do you ever do like apple slices in Nutella or anything like that? Like a healthy little.
I mean, I have, but it's not
but it's
something
not like something
I,
that you go for.
No.
Yeah, I've just been obsessed. So other than that, my fall, I've been trying to watch a lot of like seasonal
Mm-hmm.
TV and stuff. But even that, I find it's just background noise. Like
Yeah.
I'm just doing other things, and the year's going by quick.
Yep. I know.
Just in general.
I know. It is.
So yeah, that's that, and I don't know what else to say.
Okay. Well, before we get into like
Yeah,
the
what
main
else?
topic, if you've listened to us for a while now, you know that I am as basic as they come.
I mean, ain't
And
that the truth?
I started reading this book. So it's by Stassi Schroeder, and she is someone who is in reality TV. She's on Vanderpump Rules, the Bravo shows, and I haven't seen Vanderpump Rules, but she was in a couple episodes of Summer House, and I really, really liked her on that. And she has the book that I found. I was walking the bookstore, and she has a book called Next Level Basic: The Definitive Basic Bitch Handbook. And if that's not a book made for me, I don't know what is.
I feel like I would like that
So
too.
I got my copy from the library, and I just told Britt, like, I'm only 30 pages in. I'm already going to order my own copy.
Yeah.
Like, I just want this book
You
so
want
much.
the handbook?
But the reason why I bring this up is because, like, I knew I was kind of basic, but I didn't realize how basic actually was. And there's things she says in here that are, like, that she's into that I didn't even think of that I'm also into.
Like-
So, well, she has this thing here that in her book, it's a Let's Get Real challenge. And she basically just said, hey, like, I want you to go on Instagram and I want you to do a little write-up on something basic that you love. Don't be ashamed. It's not a guilty pleasure. Own it. And she's like, tag me in it, whatever. But she lists a couple of hers.
Oh, God.
And like, I'm reading these and I'm like, like, most of them hers. So I thought it'd be just fun to kind of go through them and just say like, so number one,
Yeah.
photo booths. Now
Okay.
listen. You don't know this about me.
Yeah.
I fucking love photo booths.
Do you?
When I'm at a wedding or if I'm at any
You're
kind
all
of
about
event,
it.
I want there to be a photo booth. I want to dress up. I want to take lots of pictures with friends, do lots of poses. In my mind, though, I didn't really think about this as being like something basic, but in her mind it is. So like, yeah, okay, sure. And like two of my friends got married a few years ago, Jeff and Arius, and they had like a 1920s theme, and their photo booth had all these like, you had like peek holes, but it was like antique frame, so it was like
how
a big
fun.
wall
Yeah.
and like an old look. It'd be
Like the,
a wall in like an
the
older
jewel
house,
colors
right?
and yeah.
And we dressed up and did lots of
Yeah.
pictures and had a hoot.
I feel like you'd be in every single photo.
I was in every single one, different poses. I didn't even know half the people there, but I was in them. Number two,
Yep.
spray tan. I mean,
yeah.
tanning is our game.
Yeah.
Well, it's a game we don't always win, but
No, I mean,
I haven't done a spray tan before, but I've definitely had my fair share of self tanners
You have.
and the messes that come with it.
Yeah.
But I'm obsessed with having a darker skin tone. Not
that
even
is
just
such
in
a
the
basic
summer,
thing, right? Tanned in general.
And I mean, we've used tanning bids. I mean,
Oh God, yeah.
let's not be
No, let's not beat
right?
around the bush.
and
We've
don't
been
come
doing
at me
them.
about them because
Yeah,
no
it
different.
is what it is. We know the risks.
We know
Okay,
the risks.
we know.
But we were trying to transition to self tanners and.
Yes.
It's a whole journey. That's something else we can certainly get into later on.
If you have any questions,
because
don't ask us.
I've been through it. I can tell you what not to do.
Yeah.
Billboard Top 20 Music. Brittany.
Yeah, I mean,
Who is that?
That is Joey's middle name.
Right? That's all I listen
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Yes, I like certain indie things that I come across or whatever. But my main game is the radio-friendly, upbeat pop music.
Yeah.
And like Ariana, Katy Perry, Taylor Swift.
The Billboard Top 20.
Right? Like
yeah.
that's what I listen to. And if you have any, I know all about them. I know all about their eras, their
Yeah, he
albums,
does.
their concepts behind them.
Dates. You know all the dates.
It's my jam.
Yeah.
Next one.
Mm-hmm.
This is my little special one for you, Brett. Sex and the City.
Oh my God. Yeah, that is such a basic
It's her show. It's her favorite show.
I know.
Sex and the City.
I know.
And it's like, yeah, we watch Sex and the City, but
Yeah.
even like think of like the Mindy Project. That's another
which
big
I'm obsessed
one,
with right
which
now.
is a
Again,
romantic
I mean,
comedy in TV
yeah.
form.
Yeah.
So it's like rewatching all of these shows that are just about anyone just like dating and having fun in a big city. Like,
I would love to think of eventually this podcast being the recorded version of like the Mindy Project, because that is
yes.
such
and that
that
was
is so real life.
And that was like the premise of this. It was all
Yeah.
about bumbling through your 30s, being at an age where you should have your life together, whether
Yeah.
it's your job, whether it's relationships, whatever it is, but you just don't. And you're just taking it one mistake at a time.
Exactly, and that is the
right?
Mindy Project,
and that's,
really.
And that's what we wanted for this podcast.
You're right.
Fall themed everything. That's an obvious one. We all know the whole basic term comes from loving fall.
Oh my God,
right?
yes.
You get your scarves on, you got your Uggs on, you got your cardigans on. You're fucking driving 2 hours just to get one picture on a
Oversized
pumpkin
sweaters,
patch.
your
Right?
your hats, yeah, for sure.
Pinterest.
I was obsessed with
Mood
Pinterest.
boards are everything.
I mean,
if I'm like planning a trip,
right?
or planning something like a photo shoot of some kind, I pin things of outfit ideas. I have pins I have a whole collection of pins fall related, whether it's recipes, movies, outfits.
Pinterest
like,
is a great,
everything.
highly
is on
underrated
Pinterest, right?
social media.
Beautiful,
I would
beautiful
say,
thing.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there are a few other ones here that don't apply to me, but the majority of them did. But a lot of them are things I didn't even think of as like basic. But
And it's so funny because listening to them like out loud, I always think, well, doesn't everybody do Pinterest? And it's so funny because I would say that I'm somebody who is basic. You know, I love to do all the basic things, get my hair done, tan, but I always associated that with like more of like a self-care thing. But no, not everybody values those things.
yeah.
Therefore,
I think it comes from the term basic. There's always like a stigma to it.
oh my, that's what I
It's
mean.
like,
Always.
oh, you're so generic and you're so like, I remember one time on Facebook, there was a meme and it was a row of shoes and all the shoes were plain white tennis shoes. And there was one pair of Converse that were red. And the meme said something like, you know, stand out in the crowd or don't blend in with the rest. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what if I want to wear a fucking pair of white tennis shoes?
Well, that's just it,
I don't want the
right?
red shoes. Why is
Like-
that such a bad thing?
Exactly.
To enjoy things that maybe the majority of other people do enjoy.
I know, and that makes you. I saw something the other day that was like the inaugural basic girl was the Ashleys from the show Recess.
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yes.
It was like scandalous.
Maybe that would be an idea for an extra flirty episode. Where we just
Yeah.
wanna, maybe we talk about basic bitches, like iconic basic bitches.
like ages ago.
Yeah.
Ages.
Just go through.
This has always been there, right?
Yeah.
It's just one of those millennial terms
Yeah.
that
Which a lot of them, you know, back in the I think 80s and 90s, you would always hear the term the Valley Girls.
Yeah.
Which was coming out of California, right?
Exactly.
But that same kind of thing.
Yeah, it would be the same kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start. Actually, that reminds me of like basic and trying to like know the terms and stuff nowadays. I'm gonna start a new thing. Once in a while, I'm gonna give you a term that I've heard because Joeigh knows that I'm not good with the lingo as far as like what is it, Gen Z? Is that the next generation above us, or you know what I mean?
Yep.
I hear these things and I'll have to like Urban Dictionary them because I don't know what they mean anymore. And I heard one the other day called link up.
Link up.
Let's link up.
Yeah.
And I heard it like several times, so I Googled it, and I'm going to share it with you guys because we're in our 30s. We don't know. Link up, I automatically thought it was sex
Oh, really?
associated because
Right.
I guess the term that kind of what I had heard
I
it
can
in.
see that. Yeah.
But no, it's like that's what you say now. You
Yeah.
say like,
Like,
"Hey,
to
Joe,
get together."
yeah, like let's go
Yeah.
to the pumpkin patch and be basic
Can you
bitches.
imagine
Let's
if like
link up."
imagine if we were talking, I'm just like, yeah, Brett, like let's link up later. And you're like, oh my god. So like you're like getting prepped and ready for like a big like
Come over
sex
and this
date.
like.
You're like Samantha, like a trench coat with nothing underneath.
Oh my
like
god!
lingerie.
I mean, it's right. So that we need to know. Link up means
Just
hang
to
out.
hang out.
So there you go.
I mean, I think most of
I
us,
got you.
I feel like that was obvious, but maybe not.
No,
Like,
because it was like
you're like thinking like, wow, there's a lot of people having sex.
I heard it 3 times.
People
yesterday.
are linking all over the
I'm like,
place.
it must just be like cuffing, right? Linking up, like. But no,
Right.
there you go.
Cuff
That's
links.
my little share. That's what reminded me of like your basic.
Oh my
Because I feel like
gosh.
as you get older, you miss all of those, right? You miss all of those cues now. Basic means differently now than it did 20 years ago or
so
whatever the case
anyway,
may
I
be.
just happened to be reading this book this
I
week,
love
and I
that.
thought, you know what, that'd be fun to share.
That is
Just-
so good.
Yeah. So
I don't have anything really fun to report like that. I've been obsessed, which I've mentioned, and I know you are as well, with Adele's new song.
oh, Adele's back. Okay. Do you know what I love though?
Yeah.
I love that Taylor Swift was basically the one that like announced that Taylor was coming, or that Adele was coming, because her
Oh, that's
Reds
right. Yes.
album was set to come out November 19th. She
Mm-hmm.
released that date months ago. Then all of a sudden, she's like, joke, guys, I'm going to release it a week ahead.
Yep.
And the rumors were flying. They're like, yep, Adele's coming back November 19th.
And sure enough.
Because Taylor's going to want to get that #1 album, and
Sure
she
enough.
can't go up against Adele. No one can.
No,
So
no, because what we had talked about before is she has so many.
She's one of the
so many
only
audiences.
artists
Yeah.
that can literally disappear for 6 years
And then just come
and
in hot.
come back, and everyone is
Yeah.
just waiting for it.
I love her, and I feel like I'm excited. I'm super, super excited for this.
I am
So
too.
I've been listening to that nonstop, and that's the only thing that really.
Beautiful song.
It
I
is.
think this is going to be her divorce album.
She
so-
has a lot of really good songs.
Well, Hello is one of my favorites.
And as I was listening
songs.
through her discographies of just like, I'm like, oh yeah, that song. Oh yes, that
Yeah.
song. Like she has a lot of.
I don't know a lot of her earlier stuff.
I just love her. I
should-
feel like she's so cool.
Should do a deep. She's so cool. Oh my god, it's
she's
funny
so
because
cool.
if you've just listened to her and you just know her as the artist, you think she's like super classy and like
Oh yeah.
you know, but
And she's
then when you
not.
see her in interviews and stuff, she's like person.
so
and
funny.
She's so UK. Like she's
She
just
is. She's the best.
You know.
Vogue just put something out with her about like her trying like very British dishes.
Yeah.
And she's the best.
Yeah.
She is the best. So anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I've
Cool.
been.
All right, that was just a little sneak peek into our week.
I know. And it's funny because that kind of is a little bit of a segue with Adele being divorced, meeting new people. I think she's dating somebody
She is, yeah.
now. And that got Joey and I thinking, how do you meet people?
Yeah, we were thinking this is a common thing that I've seen here and there, like meeting men, meeting people in the wild, and how that is something that just doesn't happen
No,
as
not-
often
it
anymore.
doesn't.
Right
No.
now that we're all online and all, doing that kind of stuff.
And I feel like the internet has made everybody super, is it introverted? Where like nobody wants to put themselves out there. Social anxiety is a huge thing. And people just don't have that same fire that they maybe did 20 years ago because they can get everything they need
Yeah.
online.
And so we'll start off.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of a stat. Joe
Ooh,
has been
I love
Joe
a
has
good
been deeping into the
stat.
research this week.
Yep.
It's a 2017 report. It is from the States. I didn't look too far into it if there's anything Canadian related.
Just curious. Yep.
So a 2017 report said that 61% of Americans aged 18 to 29 and 44% of Americans aged 30 to 59
Right.
are currently using a dating app or website or have used one.
Okay.
However, there was a 2018 survey by the Tilt, TYLT. They found that almost 84% of millennials, so people our age, would rather find love in real life than online.
100%.
Okay. And it got me thinking, like when we're watching movies and watching TV shows or reading books, there's this term now, and maybe this is, I don't know, you might know what this is, a meet cute.
You've mentioned it a
Right?
few times.
It's one of those lingos now that we're all desiring this meet cute. And it's
Yeah.
basically when, and usually it's surrounding like within movies or within some type of storyline of characters where it's whatever event that the quote unquote leading lady meets the leading man, or however you identify.
Yep.
This is like
Yep.
an older term.
Yep.
How they meet. Like, what is their first meeting like? And
Yep.
a lot of shows try to make it cutesy or whatever. And I was thinking, like, speaking of the mini project, the very first episode, obviously her character is obsessed with the dream of being in love and romantic
Boys,
comedies and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And the very first episode, like a few minutes in, she's a doctor and she's in the elevator with a very attractive doctor. And of course, he drops his files. Okay. And then, she drops her files. So they both bend down to pick up the files together. And then she has her hair in a loose ponytail and it like comes undone. And she's like, her inner monologue is like, oh my God, like we're picking up each other's stuff. Like my hair's come undone. Like, am I Sandra Bullock in a movie?
Yeah.
Right. It's that dream of like, you're just out and about and you just somehow run into the
love of your life
person.
Yeah.
And it's kismet and it's beautiful and it's magical. Think of like The Wedding Planner where J-Lo's heel gets stuck in the manhole cover.
Yes.
And she's almost getting run over and he just kind of whoops in and saves her just in time. Like,
yes. How Charlotte met Trey in Sex and the City. She falls in front of a taxi. It's his taxi. He's like, stop the cab. He hops out. He's a doctor. He's like, oh, and then she looks up at him from the pavement and he's just like, hi, I'm Trey.
It's that moment that we all want. And I feel like too, it's interesting that this study is millennials because I feel like we're the ones that grew up on those 90s romantic comedies.
Yeah, for sure.
Where we've seen those. Yeah. Or like me and my Hallmark movies, same thing. There's always some. I think
a lot of us are just sick of the dating apps.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. And okay, so let's get into that first, just a little bit. Mm-hmm. What's wrong with the online stuff?
I don't have a lot of experience, as you know, with online dating. So why don't you take it? What do you say?
First of all, too many options, too many choices.
Transactional.
It's like a Rolodex of people. You're swiping through. It's very superficial. You're basing it on pictures. You're basing it on what they're saying in the profile.
It's so superficial.
And then with the chatting, so you're chatting with people. But what happens is when you're chatting with someone on your phone, you can't build a connection, right? There's no way to build a connection. So I find with me, like I can chat with someone and even if the chat is really good, it just fizzles out.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, where do you draw the line?
You can only talk so much.
Right? Like, where is it too much versus not enough?
How many times have I spent the time chatting to someone, did meet them for coffee, and there just wasn't chemistry.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. And that's for a lot of reasons. Like, sometimes people present themselves very differently online.
Oh,
right?
my
They're
gosh.
showing their best selves. And then you meet them in reality, and it's like, this isn't really what I wanted. And that is normal, and that's going to happen. But what a waste of time.
It is
if
a waste
you had to
of
just
time.
met that person randomly and got to know them or talking to them, you would know right off the bat.
And I would say from the experiences I have with my friends that have been online, and I would say that the one tip, if I could take one tip to anybody out there, even to give to anybody.
Our tip for tits.
There you go.
Tip for tits.
Would be talk for 3 days max and then meet them. Set the date.
Yes.
If they're not willing to do that, move on.
Yes.
If set the date. Because I think anything longer, you put them on a pedestal.
And you know what?
Right?
I'm bad for that.
Yeah.
Like, I do have social anxiety issues.
Yeah, exactly.
And I get nervous meeting people.
Yep.
And it's a lot of effort, too, like, to go and meet someone, especially if you're not sure if there's going to be any gain from it. Yeah. So sometimes I will talk to someone, and it's like trying to set up a time to meet. And I do sometimes kind of revert back into my cave a bit and, like, be a little generic and say, oh yeah, like I'm sure we can make something work. And I gotta be better at like, no, like Joey, like put yourself out there and like meet these people. If it doesn't work out, then you know.
Well, exactly.
And how are you going to meet someone that it does work out if you don't?
Yeah, and I've been in this situation before, talking to somebody for a long period of time, over a year, ages ago, and I had put them on a pedestal. Yeah. I met them in person, and they were the worst person ever.
Yep.
And it just kind of crushed everything I had, because I'm like, well, but you're not the person that I had been talking to. You are supposed to be this amazing, and it wasn't. It wasn't that at all. And I think if you just get that early, you avoid all that.
Exactly.
And to your point, if you meet them in the wild, if you meet them organically, you've avoided that whole thing altogether.
Yeah.
So there is totally, I can understand that study for sure.
So that's what we're talking about. Meeting.
How do you do it?
From our perspective, is meeting men.
Where are they?
But meeting whoever you're into in the wild.
Where are all the men?
And there's some reasons why this is so good. And I'm going to get into that first. So here are some tips for meeting people in the wild.
Okay.
How to do it. Not even just the how to do it, but what can you do,
Yeah.
So one of the big things is signing up for like some type of new activity.
For sure.
Because if we're always in our same routine, okay, we get up, we go to work, we go to the gym, we go home, right?
Yeah.
If you're doing those same kinds of things, then you're seeing the same kind of people all the time. You're not really branching out.
Right.
So say if you are someone that goes to the gym, like me, like I go to the same gym.
Yep.
And I'm always going to go to the gym, but maybe you could switch things up one day and, instead of going to the gym, maybe go to a rock climbing place and get your workout doing a rock climbing event. Or join a running league on weekends where Saturday mornings you team up with some people and go for a run. So it's a way to still keep your own goals, right, in mind, but you're widening up your social interactions, and it might allow you to meet some people and get yourself out there. Another big one, and this is a hard one, but going to events alone.
Oh gosh.
Right? We always want to bring someone with us, right? But the problem is when we bring someone with us, we're more likely to stay with that person and not really branch out so much.
That's even in like because Joey and I work together, obviously, and even like in work settings, if you go to conferences or you do other things, if you're always attached to your person, I mean, I'm sure there's situations where we could have met different people.
And also too, if you're the kind of person that doesn't like to approach people yourself, you would like them to kind of approach you. Well, if you're always with a group of people, then a guy might not come approach you. Like if you're with your group of girls, say, if we're thinking hetero, and it's like, well, he might be intimidated to go up to a bunch of girls. But if you were by yourself, right, then maybe they're more inclined to approach you. And this is where I get into the idea of like, if you go to a bar with your friends, make a habit of like, just be like, oh, like, I'll be right back, guys. I'm going to do like a quick little walk around, just kind of, check out the surroundings. Kind of separate yourself a bit just to kind of look around.
Yeah.
Or if you're with a friend and say they go up to use the washroom or something, stay off your phone.
Yeah.
Don't just, we want to automatically go on our phones and just be sitting there looking down with our heads down.
No, because it's not.
No one's going to approach you.
Yeah.
But, if you know there's a couple cute guys in the room or girls or whatever, and you want to seem approachable, then stay off your phone. And, just look around, maybe try to catch eye contact with someone. If you do get eye contact and they're a cute person, smile, like, try to be inviting that way, because it might incline that person to maybe walk over and just say hi.
To your point, I just want to say something here quickly. It's not up always. I mean, I'm talking from a heterosexual female's perspective, but it's not always up to the man, okay? Like if you're out and you see somebody that you're interested in, anybody, don't automatically assume that you're going to be like a stage 5 clinger, or you're being forward, or you're being slutty or skanky or approaching somebody. A lot of men, because I'm talking from my perspective, deal with anxiety, deal with social anxiety. Anything that you're feeling, they're probably feeling too. So not always, but just keep that in mind, like if you see something you like, go for it. It's not always up to, and we can get into this later on.
And that's a good thing to note too. I think there is, speaking like just with straight, and watching Sex and the City and watching these shows.
Of course, yeah.
And we've had friends too say this, where it's like they're in a bar and a guy approaches them. The girl is rude off the bat, right? She's thinking, okay, this guy is trying to like come over and sleep with me.
He's a fuck boy.
Yeah, and it's like, that's not always the case.
It's not.
And I do understand, like, so we had a friend once that was on a dating app and matched with a guy, and she had in her profile something to shoot, like one of her interests, and he made a comment about it, and she took it very negatively. Like she was like trying to say like he was trying to like make a move or like slide in, and she was very like put off by it. And I remember like I'm thinking like, well, no, he's taking something that you're interested in, and he's trying to make a little joke or like a comment about it to initiate a conversation.
100%.
Right? And this is part of the reason why, when you're trying to meet people in the wild, from a man's perspective, trying to meet girls in the wild, I think is a lot harder than women meeting men.
Exactly. So keep that in mind.
Because there is this thing where it's like, there's a stigma where men get generalized as fuckboys.
Yes. And sometimes they are.
Sometimes they are, but...
Which I've had experience with too.
You have to know the signs and be smart about it.
You do.
But sometimes they're just not.
Always go in with an open mind. Yes. And unless they give you a reason to show you who they are, right? Yes. Then just go for it. Just go for it. And I think that's like the biggest thing when meeting people organically is just go for it.
Yeah. And I want to... So we were talking a lot about heterosexual men, women, taking it to the LGBTQ community. Meeting in the wild is a lot harder. And I understand. So there's this whole stigma with gay men in particular, but could be anyone that identifies as, being interested in the same sex as them, where it's like, oh, gay men are slutty. Gay men sleep around a lot. Gay men, blah, blah, blah. But you have to remember that gay men our age and older haven't come out until they were like in their 20s most of the time. They didn't have that experience of exploring their sexuality in high school like most people would have.
Oh, that's a good point.
So I understand why the dating apps, Grindr, right, is so prevalent, because it's a safe space to build those connections, whether it's just for sex or whether it's for more.
Because it's not, Grindr isn't just about sex, which I'm learning as well.
Meeting men in the wild as a gay man is very hard.
Oh, I can imagine.
So here's the thing. I was going for a walk the other day. I walk along a trail, and it's mostly like older people that walk it, like older couples with their dogs and stuff. But there was this really hot guy that was there going for a run. Yeah. And I'm walking and I'm thinking, you know, I wish I could be in this kind of situation where, you know, if he was to stop for a second and take a breather, and I could try to like strike up some kind of conversation with him, and like maybe just like, hey, like my name's Joeigh, like listen, here's my number, give me a call sometime. Yeah. But how do I know? I mean, if they're not gay and into it, that's one thing, that's fine. But how do I know that he's not some type of homophobic prick that's going to try to beat the shit out of me on the trail because I came on to him, right?
Yeah, you don't think about that stuff as a heterosexual.
So when we're talking about meeting men in the wild and how it's better and it's more organic, it is. But depending on your situation, you got to do what's best for you.
I wasn't even thinking that. Right? That's a whole other issue,
gamut.
Right?
And I just kind of thought of it now because we're talking so much about women and men. And,
yeah. I mean, the gender roles and, I mean, and stuff.
So... And we can, I do have like other ideas, but that would be an idea for gay men, lesbians, however you identify, bisexual, looking out for certain events targeted towards LGBTQ. So if it's... For sure. I mean, yes, you got your gay bars and all that kind of stuff, but maybe there's some types of dating events for gay people. Or like... I hate to
say this, but like Facebook groups,
different ways
get together
of meeting people.
Meetups and stuff for sure.
Yeah, that would be a safer way than perhaps what we've just been saying, like, you know, in a bar, just kind of walking up to someone in a bookstore. Yeah, it's a little bit harder.
Oh my god, yeah, and I mean, even like sitting here, even just talking about this now, I'm thinking like, would I ever approach a man in in public setting? And the answer for me is probably yes, because I'm that type of personality. I've met a few boyfriends that way. I mean, organically in the wild, because that's kind of personality I am. But most of my friends are not like that. Yeah. And I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine you meeting somebody organically. No. Like, it is such a foreign concept for a lot of folks, and it's like it's easy to talk about, but like to actually do it, it would be super. It'd be super hard, I think.
So that was a good transition.
Yeah.
How do you're in a public place, you see a cute guy.
Slip your number?
How do you kind
of... How do you slip the nip?
What did you say?
I was going to say, how do you slip them your number? But I almost said, how do you slip the nip?
Oh, they're going to say slip the tip.
I mean, really? Yeah, like, how do you do it?
Yeah, and it is hard. A couple years ago, I was at Starbucks. Because sometimes I would go there just like myself with my book and sit down, have a coffee and read a bit. And it was really busy and there wasn't anywhere to sit. And some guy was sitting in like a comfy chair that had like the two chairs to like next to each other kind of thing. But one was empty. And he just kind of flagged me over and said, hey, if you want to sit here, go ahead. It's like, okay. So I sat down. So it was like we were together.
Did you say enchanté?
But we weren't. And he was like reading and doing his things and stuff. And I remember leaving there and he was cute. And I knew he was at least into men because I've seen him on the apps.
Okay.
And I wish, like looking back on it, I should have just said like, you know, he had a book with him and he was writing and I think he might have been studying something. I should have just said, you know, oh, like, what are you studying? Or, oh, like, what are you reading? Or, or, oh, like that drink, like, is that a good drink to get? Like, you know what? Like, there's ways to try to strike up that initial conversation.
You know what I would have done in that situation? And it's funny, as I'm listening to that specific, what I would have done, and this is going to be kind of cringy, so forward on if you don't want to hear it, but I would pretend I'm on my phone and be like, yeah, my name is Brittany. Yep, the number is, and then say your number. Like, yeah, my number is
such a good
blah, blah,
idea.
blah, 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 and then just say, yeah, you can read it back to me. yep, 90, and then continue on.
Me, it'd be like, yeah, I'm Joey. Yeah, my number is blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, my address is blah, 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 blah. I keep my door unlocked at all times. And I'm usually just laying around like completely vulnerable.
Yeah, you would. You'd be like, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I'm single.
I would. Yeah, I'm totes single and looking to mingle. Wink at him.
I would love to meet somebody in like a Starbucks setting. You would. But that's what I would have done in that situation because I'm sneaky.
Or, okay, so that takes care of like a little Starbucks cafe situation. Or like if you're in a lineup at Starbucks and there's a cute guy behind you or in front of you, you're like, oh, like, I never really been here before. Do you have any like recommendations of like a good drink or like what's good here? You know, just try to start up some kind of conversation.
Yeah, you would say that and then they'd be like, Joey, how's it been?
I know.
Like, it's been since yesterday. What do you want today, Joe?
I know, the barista. Joe, you're back.
It's like Italian.
Joe, you're back. You want the grande. Okay, well.
But that's exactly what would have happened with you.
It just would. I always try though. I got to go back to the gym because I like my jocks.
Joey,
but like
he hangs out in the
gym.
Gym.
again, as a gay man, I would never do this. But if I'm speaking, like, if you had the balls, and I got them, but looking for someone else's. Okay, anyway. But if you're at the gym and it's like you see someone who's really hot doing a good workout, compliment them. Go over and say, "Wow, like that set you just did, like good job. Like your arms are so big." Okay.
But would you actually say that?
I probably wouldn't.
Those specific,
but if you're someone that, you're like, you have like a fuck it attitude, and you're like, I don't care, like I'm gonna hit on this guy, and if he's not grabbing what I'm putting down, then whatever. But how do you get there? Because there are a lot of them that could be interested in you, and you don't know.
In the gym?
But if you're just like,
well, here, I'll tell you.
Or no, a guy's on the treadmill. You want some water? Just open a bottle of water.
Would
gobble
pour it
up.
all over them. The thing starts
spray
smoking.
them. No, I have a spray bottle. You need a spritz. Just spray them as they're running.
You would.
I would.
That reminds me. I was approached the other day. I think I told you this story.
Did it go anywhere?
No. No. So I was approached. I was running on the trail at a local trail, and I had stopped because I was trying to fix my watch, and I was approached by a man. Let me finish that story.
Okay.
So he was around my age, hat on backwards. He was jogging as well. He stopped at the same bench to tie his shoe. And he made a comment about how nice it was today, how crisp. For once, he didn't have to wear a big sweater or whatever the case may be. And so we got talking about the trail and that he comes there often. And I was just kind of like, yeah, okay, well, enjoy your run. And he actually had said to me, I know this is forward. That I know this is forward, but would you mind if which is kind of brazen now that I'm telling the story, because I could be, there's a million different things I could be. That's a pretty bold thing to say. He was good looking, so maybe it was a little bit of confidence on his end.
Do you think he was looking for a nanny for his kids?
Maybe, right? But you know what I mean? Like, it is a brave thing to do, but that's what he started with is, I know this is forward, but would you mind if I grabbed your number? And I said that I'm not. I'm in a relationship or whatever I had said. That's how I handled that. But I thought good on him. I think I texted you right away.
Well, yeah, but and you did text me, and I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. But and then what did I say? I said, man, I wish that could happen to me, but it never would.
Exactly. Well, exactly. Because
I just can't picture, unless a guy has seen me on the apps and stuff, and they know, and then they would approach.
Yeah, and that's so people do.
I think that's awesome.
It does happen, is what I'm saying. It does happen.
Going back to the gym, though, you could also play dumb, right? Because maybe a lot of guys that are working out, right? Maybe they get a little bit of an ego, they feel confident, and be like, oh my God, like, I don't know how to use this, like, machine. Like, it's so scary. Can you, like, show me? Mic drop.
And then they're like, yeah.
It's like, he sits down to show you. I would just sit on his lap.
You would. Or they'd be like, yeah, for sure. Hey, Stacy, everyone needs help with treadmill 6.
Some, like, big butch lesbian just go, you know what? Fuck it. I'll take what I can get.
You'd be like, oh.
Ow. Thanks, Jack.
That would be your luck. I'm trying to think, like, if I was at a gym, like, what would I do? I'd drop my membership card in front of them so they have to approach me. But I drop something.
No, drop your membership card so you have to bend over in front of them and show your arse.
Oh. I mean, you know all the tips and tricks, but like you know, it's one of those things. And I think at the end of the day, you just have to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Like we had talked about earlier, you can't expect the opposite sex or the same sex or whoever it is. I hate saying that so specifically, but you can't expect somebody else to do the work for you. So if you like what you see, go for it. Like there's something to be said about shooting your shot.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, people are going to be nice about it.
Yep.
And if they're not nice about it, then they're probably not the person for you.
And even for me, like I find it's more impressive to have someone shoot their shot to you in person than sending you a DM.
100%.
And I know that the whole DM thing is what's most common.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's just so much better. Like meeting someone in the wild like that, you can pick up on their body language. You can pick up on their mannerisms. Mm-hmm. You can build a connection right off the bat.
Yeah.
Right? How you
for
kind of
sure.
interact with each other.
So then we had talked about like where you can meet those people, you know, out and about. And one of my suggestions would be there's a place called Sport and Social Clubs, right? So if you're joining like a floor hockey team or a volleyball team that's co-ed, a lot of these teams have a rule that no spouses are allowed or no. So that gives you to meet new people. And I think if you go in with the mind that you're going to meet new friends and then if you see something you like, cuff them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's important too. Like, don't go into those situations with the pressure of finding the one or finding a date or whatever. Go into it just thinking, you know what? I love this activity, so I'm doing it for myself because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm going to meet some people, maybe make some great friends.
Because they might know people.
Make some great connections. They might know people.
Yeah.
Or, you might hit it off with one of them. And it just started very organically
And
that
that is a situation where you have to speak. That is a situation where you have to be a team. You know, like same with like cooking classes or things that we would want to do as an adult to meet other adults. I think anything like that is a good way to go because yes, sometimes meeting people in the gym, meeting people on a trail, meeting people at a coffee shop isn't super realistic if you're that type of personality. So join something.
Yeah.
Go for it. Get yours.
You got real excited there.
Well,
for
you
a
know,
minute.
sometimes you just got to go for it. You got to go for gold.
But yeah, there's lots. And we're going to get into some ideas of where to go.
Yeah.
But since you were speaking of stories, and this is going off of just saying how it is hard for the LGBTQ sometimes in a public setting. But it didn't become a relationship, but we dated a little bit. But this was in university. So this would have been like in 2008 in terms of time frame. And 2 of my friends from high school came up to visit me and my other friend that we went to the same university. So the 4 of us were together, plus all of our friends. And so we went to the pub, right, where you go, and we're on the dance floor and we're dancing and stuff. And there was this guy from afar that kept looking over our way. And I really got the impression that he was looking at me. But I'm like, well, no,
of course.
With that whole mindset of, well, no, we don't do that in public. That whole fucking stigma thing that was in my head at the time. I was like, there's no way he's looking at me, but whatever. And he was slowly making his way towards our group.
Inching closer.
Yeah, inching kind of closer. But then he started dancing behind my friend Ashley. Dancing behind her. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever.
Of course.
And Ashley was single, so of course she was kind of into it and they're dancing and stuff. No big deal. So we're dancing, but he's still looking at me as if he's trying to catch my attention. And I'm like,
you're looking behind you being like,
I'm not going to do a threesome with you and my friend. What do you want here?
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, he just hip tucks Ashley to the side and just starts dancing on me. And it was, God love my friends too, because they knew that I probably would have been very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so my girlfriends, they kind of surrounded us, built this little circle of safety in a way. And me and him were just kind of dancing and stuff.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the night, he walked me back to my dorm. We said goodnight. Or I think he gave, we exchanged numbers. And he just said, yeah, I'd like to hang out sometime and whatever. And we went on a couple dates. And he was a really sweet guy. Unfortunately, I wasn't really feeling it in the end of it.
Of course,
it did end. But props to him.
Yeah, no, that is great.
Because I don't, if you see me in the wild, I don't give off the impression in terms of stereotypically, I don't like to say this, but you might think that I'm just a straight dude, whatever.
Not at all.
But props to him for coming over.
Yes.
Using Ashley as a little gateway into the fold.
Gateway.
You know?
Yeah, and I think I think there's a couple of factors in that situation where, like, if alcohol's a factor, obviously you have
Big
a little bit
time.
more of liquid courage.
Big time.
And then obviously in a university setting, like if we're taking it back to university, yeah, I wasn't on the dating apps ever in university
No.
because I don't think they were a thing.
I think it was just like Plenty of Fish. Like you go on your computer.
Which
and,
I would, yeah, which
right?
not that I want to say I never needed to do that, but I mean, I
Well,
didn't. I had so
don't-
many friends.
Dating online was,
Yes.
I don't think it was as common. And there's also a big stigma to it back then.
It was.
Right? If you
So-
couldn't meet someone in the wild, it was like, you're a loser, right?
Right,
Whereas now it's
it
like,
was.
that's all that they're fucking
Exactly. It's totally changed. But I feel like when you're in your 20s compared to your 30s,
Yeah.
you're a lot more confident. Everything's tighter, everything is hotter, everything is just flirty and bouncy.
In your 20s?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're a lot more confident. You
Yeah.
don't really think of the consequences. Rejection isn't really a thing on your mind. You just
Yeah.
kind of go with the flow. And I feel like in your 30s, all of that's
Yeah.
gone.
And also too, like this was 2008.
Yeah.
So speaking from the LGBTQ plus point of view, yeah, things are more open, but
Yeah.
not like now,
No.
right? Where it's like now it'd probably be more common to
Of
be in a
course.
university. Like there's so many different,
almost 15 years
almost
later.
different sexualities. More people are now, they're non-binary, they're gender fluid, there's
Yeah.
transgender, not sexual,
Yeah.
transgender, bisexual, like more openness. Yes, we have a
Yes.
long way to go.
We do.
But I wouldn't be as shocked to go somewhere as public and see, two guys holding hands or two girls
No.
holding hands or
No.
whatever it may be. But like back then, you just didn't see it as much.
No.
And
Good for him.
props to him.
Come through.
I mean, he got in my pants, so
Oh, well.
kudos.
We didn't know that. Now we do.
Now you do.
Think. Yeah.
So, what are some other tips for meeting in the wild? We talked about, if based on what's your type too, right? You can base things on what your type is. And we talked about, if you like jocks, sports bars,
Yeah.
pickup games, all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
the gym. If you're looking for a bookish kind of guy, cafes, bookstores. Mm-hmm. What if you want a rich man? What if you're that bitch that wants a doctor, you want a lawyer, you want a rich
You want to be a trophy
man?
wife.
So
Yeah.
go.
Joey has all the tips and tricks.
drive yourself to an area that is known for being ritzy.
Okay.
Okay. Look good,
Yeah.
right? Park your car somewhere, like hide it, and then just like walk around.
Park your 2002 Honda
You
Civic
know,
somewhere around the corner.
Fucking smoke billowing from the back.
You feel like that Friends episode
But,
where
like-
Joey pretends he has the Porsche.
Just the boxes underneath. But and then just like
Yeah.
walk around like the streets and stuff, and like maybe you'll run into someone. Like this is what you do though. No, you walk around the streets, okay? Go get a coffee, go get something, and this is when you like pretend to collide in someone. You see a hot guy come in, just like bump into him and drop your coffee or drop your book or drop your. Oh my god, it's crazy!
Oh my God, it's crazy meeting you here. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're on my front lawn. So, yeah,
It's
it
like,
would make sense.
It's like, oh, crazy meeting you here. Well, this is my back deck. I mean,
It's like, oh, so is there a Mrs. Ritzy?
oh,
Yeah.
is there a Mrs. Rich?
Yeah, she's right next to me. Enchante.
Enchanté, I'm Joeigh. I mean, I'm trying, folks. Or if you're so lucky to have a friend who works in the finance world,
Yes.
one of my best friends does,
Mm-hmm.
right? Ask for a favor. Say, listen, good friend of mine, if any of your clients are rich, hot, and single,
Mm-hmm.
let me know when they're coming in for a little appointment, and I will I have to go take out $20 from my overdraft. So let me just I'll
Yeah.
just be there at the same time as his
Yeah.
appointment, and then like bump into him, like, oh,
Give them a photo of you and her,
Like-
or you and them, and then when that client comes into the office, like casually put it on your desk,
oh.
and then you can be like, oh, like, and then just bring it into conversation.
Yeah, this
Let
is
them
my
do the work for
friend.
you.
He's single. Area.
That reminds me, getting a part-time job somewhere or a volunteer opportunity somewhere
Yep.
that you're going to meet boys that are similar, or whoever that is similar to your interests or what you'd be interested in. So like,
Yep.
let's say jocks, for instance. So you volunteer at the local rink. You work part-time at a sports store. I mean, you don't know anything about it, but they train you.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to know.
Yeah.
And you make a little bit of extra money and you meet a man. And you know what? It's a part-time job, so you don't meet anyone there. There's no hotties. You're out of
You're
there.
out of there. On to the next
Who
one.
cares?
Thank you next.
Thank
On to
you
the
next.
one.
So that's actually a good point too,
Okay.
because I feel like in a work setting, it's easier to meet people because you have to talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just feel like you'd be constantly
good
calling up like
idea.
the hottest guy working, and they'd be like, "What, Joey?" You're like, "Oh, hi." I mean,
Oh, okay. So what else? If if you have a dog,
yeah. I mean, that's a big
go
magnet.
to a dog park.
Yeah.
Let that dog off his leash, let him run around.
Yeah.
And you can like maybe find another hot
Oh
dog
my god,
daddy.
he's like humping their dog, and it's like, oh my god, he's
Oh
never
my
like
God, like the
this.
chemistry between our dogs. Do you think it's like built off the chemistry of us?
And then you see me, hi Joe.
Oh God.
It's like, oh, that's not my dog, that's her dog over there. It's just me.
Ciao.
But yeah, like dog parks are a great one.
Yep. Or like just walking a dog anywhere is a great way to I was gonna say lure people in, but like to have someone come along, say, but a cute little puppy. Now listen though,
dog.
Do not be going out and getting a dog just for that purpose.
No.
Get a dog because you're ready and you're gonna love that dog. Okay. What if you're religious? We're not. But what if you're religious?
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, there's going to a church. Church in itself has its
groups,
own
yeah,
community,
for sure.
Religious groups, different things like that. You can meet them. But what about funerals? Listen, start looking at obituaries.
Oh God.
For like if you're a straight woman, start looking at dead wives that are around your that are around your age, that are around, start picking them out, and then get dolled up in your finest little black dress, go to the funeral. Pretend you're the wife's friend, because like not every person knows who their wives are friends with, and like give your condolences and sympathies to the husband that's just lost his wife.
I'm so sorry about Shelby.
Yeah, and then
actually
be the shoulder he's gonna cry on.
Listen, that happened. Charlotte York.
Yes,
Charlotte met
Her
a
hat,
man in the
wasn't it?
graveyard.
The hat flew off.
Yeah, and then that's how he picked up women, was mourning his wife. But yeah, that could be a thing.
Yeah.
Find the deceased.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not a Halloween, if that's not seasonal, Joe.
Oh my God, you're absolutely right.
That was great. That was a great. Honestly, you just are always thinking about it.
I know. I'm telling you. Okay, listen more. I love cops. They're
okay.
so hot.
Yeah,
I love
man
cops.
in a uniform.
And if you're trying, like, how can I meet a cop? How can I meet a cop organically? Do a little petty crime. Do a little something that's gonna get you cuffed. Do a little something where he's gonna throw you in the back of his cop car. Right?
I mean,
nothing that's gonna hurt. Like at first, I was like, do a little speeding. No, don't do that. Don't do nothing that's gonna hurt other people.
No.
But like, I
do?
don't know. Can you like steal from a child? If you see a child walk in, steal their bike, and then call the cops on yourself.
Why does it have to be a child? Could it just be like another?
Okay, or just anybody.
Why does it have to be a kid? Why would you steal a kid's bike? That would raise way more flags.
Oh yeah, that's theft. that's
also, like, why would you need a children's bike? I think still an adult bike.
Okay, well, what else? I mean, just like...
Just get cuffed, okay?
Just get cuffed. Find a way.
Hang outside police headquarters.
Or, I don't know, maybe... Not that I want to say abuse the resources of policemen, but, like, maybe, like, call them to your house and just say, like, oh...
I'm nervous. There's somebody in here with me. And then
they'd be like, okay, we can check the parameter, and then let them check and, like, have sexy lingerie like on the bed or something that they're walking into.
Out on the line.
And, like, out on the line. I don't know, but like, I'm always trying to think of
creative
ways to meet.
Yeah.
Or like if you want like a military man, like, I don't know, give Uncle Sam a call and like see if he can set you up with someone.
You do something.
Just do something.
Use your resources.
There's
other
lots
friends.
of resources out there. There's lots
there
of.
Is.
But no,
there
in all
are.
seriousness, like I feel like there's like a built-in stigma with dating events, right? Like speed dating and that kind of stuff. But honestly, look in your community, see if those types of events are going on. They are a good way to meet people organically, right? I mean, it's not as organic as like running into someone, but it might be a better way of meeting someone in person.
And to that point, like if like what Joey said earlier, don't go out with your sights on a person that you want to like, cuff. Just meet girlfriends, meet new friends, meet people just in general, because they're going to have a group of friends. Mm-hmm. So like, why don't we make it about us and not about necessarily a man? Make it about making your life more enriched.
Yep.
And you don't need to do that through a significant other. You can do that on your own. Meet just friends. And then eventually as you cultivate
Something
those
can always
relationships, right? You're going to have a whole new, maybe they have a hot brother. Maybe they have, you know, like there's a whole new world. Just put yourself out there in general. And even if that's as simple as like DMing us, talking to us, you know, like just put yourself out there. Get used to putting yourself out there.
That's a big one.
I think that's what it all comes down to at the end of the day.
Because you said this, I think you said this earlier on, where all this online stuff has almost made us more introverted,
of course,
more anxious and nervous to be out and meeting
because we don't need to.
And sometimes it is a push. You just got to kind of push yourself.
Put yourself out there and just test on people. You know, like again, back to my Sex in the City. Carrie goes on a practice date with a guy before she goes on a real date with a guy because the real date meant something to her. So this guy liked her, so she went on like a practice date, right? Tried on her outfits, tried on her flirting. Practice on your friends, you know, like I'm not saying practice flirting with your friends, but you know, just like put yourself out there more.
And even if, like, I know one of the tips was going to things alone, but maybe go with one friend just to get yourself used to going to different things. And then once you kind of get used to that, then go by yourself. Or like, even if like if you're part of some type of club with a friend and there are a couple guys your eyes are on, you get your eyes set on, then like 1 week, go by yourself. Right? Just like try to get yourself out there.
And it's hard, you know, like when I first moved to a new city, I didn't have any friends. I was meeting people for the first time. I had moved for a job, and I was messaging old friends because I had lived in that area like 15 years prior, and I was messaging old friends that I went to school with back in elementary school or whatever, and I literally was just honest with them, and I said, hey, like I don't know anyone here, I just moved back, like would you like to go grab a cup of coffee? I know that's not in a dating place, but that's still putting yourself out there. That's really hard to do because you're thinking about the other person. Do they need more friends? Do they want to meet you? Are they socially awkward? So like back to that too is just keep in mind that everybody's experiencing the exact same thing. And if you're feeling like you want to meet somebody organically and you're having a hard time doing so, so is everyone else, the opposite sex or the same sex or whoever we're going to talk about included. Everybody is in the same boat.
And I think too, you have to get comfortable with, and this is hard, with rejection or possible rejection. Like if you're putting yourself out there and the body language or the response you're getting from that person isn't
read the room
there, you know, then just, you know what, that's fine. It's okay. It's okay if you make a move on someone organically and they're not into it.
No.
Don't take that to heart.
No, it has nothing to do with. They don't know you.
Yeah, like just, you know.
They don't. There could be a million different reasons why they're not into it.
Exactly.
I think
check for rings.
The rings.
Check for ring fingers. I guess.
That's right. Yeah, check for the wedding ring. Check for the band.
Yeah, I mean, I know not everyone, whatever, but.
Yeah, but just you never know. You never know, right? And I think just be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Whoa.
Be
uncomfortable. No.
Get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
With being uncomfortable.
Right, and that's the takeaway. And also, if you're listening to this and you're married, you're happily married, you're happy in a
fuck you. No,
you're in a healthy, nurturing, happy relationship. This still applies to you. Because it still applies in the sense that like meeting friends, meeting people, just being more open. We could all afford to be a little bit more open.
Yeah.
The internet has ruined us.
Yeah.
So these like organic rendezvous, they're not gone away. They've always been there. It's just you got to look for them. Put your phone away.
Put your phone away.
Put your head up.
And I think we covered it.
That's it.
That was a good little
meeting in the wild.
So if you have any of your own tips, right, for meeting in the wild or stories, let us know, and maybe we can reiterate them on the next episode.
And it is quite common because we've had a few people message us when we put out that you know question.
Yeah, anyone, for those that did message, if you want to come back and give us some more details on it, just
a good friend of ours,
or share or.
I remember now, I mean, they're long in their relationship now, but a good friend of Joeigh and I's, when she first started, you know who I'm talking about.
We met her right when she was first starting to see this guy, and she was all, she called him the angel.
She calls him the angel. Yeah. That's a really good example. So they met in an organic setting. I think they had mutual friends. We can ask her kind of for more details about that. But that was a really great thing. Now she's more outgoing. I mean, we met her organically.
Yeah.
So, but she puts herself out there, and
we met her. So just a little bit of backstory, but we were on a course through work.
Yeah.
And there was 3 of us that were really good friends from work.
Yeah.
At one table,
that's
and
right.
she walked in.
All
she
by
was there
herself.
by herself, and she sat down at our table. And just during that day, she became like one of our really good friends. Like we don't see her as much. We need to really plan that out. But like in terms of like even like she's always messaging us. We're always she's still very present.
And so
with us,
she's that
she's dead.
Her presence is around us.
Oh my God.
No, but she's the type of personality that is just infectious,
and
she just kind of grabs you in. So I mean, that's a little bit of a different example because she would have put herself out there and been very open and approachable.
And they're still together today.
They're still together. So be approachable. Take it from
the
angel's girlfriend.
No, be approachable.
Yeah.
Be cool. Be breezy.
Yeah.
And get out there and find your angel.
There you go. Oh. And
all right. That's it, guys.
That's all we have.
Thanks again for listening. If you like what you're hearing, please subscribe to our podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all other platforms. Give us a 5-star rating. Give us a nice little positive review. You can follow us on Instagram, 30 Kind of Flirty Podcast. If you're listening, please let us know. Share us to your story and tag us. We love seeing those. What else do I say at this? Twitter?
That's
the twit?
it.
Are you still
Hit
twitting?
us up.
Are you still twitting?
Well, let's link up.
Are you still twitting?
I'm trying.
Let's link up.
I'm trying.
She's gonna now. Okay, listen. This is what Bernie does. She gets on to a lingo that's like 5 years old, and she runs with it.
I do.
so she'll be saying, "Joe, want to link up?"
I will. I mean,
like, not today,
We're here for all of your tips and tricks and conversation.
Have you been checking the email?
Yes, I have.
Okay, good.
We've had a few, and
Send
email
us an email, 30kindoflirtypodcast@gmail.com.
And that's it.
And that's
all she wrote.
And we thank you so much. Until next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.